Hey, ladies. Hey, gents. Well, been a long week, new podcast show today. Today, we're going to talk about is it cool or is it possible that we could go ahead and have a friendship with the opposite sex while being in a relationship? I know it's hard for some of us, and some of our other halves can't get past having like another male in our lives. They want to be the only one, but this is what we're going to talk about today. Kira, take us away.
So, is it okay to have a friend of the opposite sex when in a relationship? I think this is tricky. I honestly believe that when you're in a relationship, you want to be around people that are in like-minded situations. I know that's not always realistic, but I think over the years, because I've been in a relationship for so long, most of our friends are in relationships. So it does allow us to have not just a relationship with the opposite sex, but a relationship with the couple. I think when you have friends of the opposite sex, that can lead to some questioning circumstances that you might not want to have to deal with. But I mean, it's different for everybody. I wouldn't do it personally because I don't care to have the headache.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just look at it this way. If you got a friend that's ugly, it don't matter.
Wait a minute. What does that matter if your friend is ugly or not? I think if you're solid enough in your relationship, it really shouldn't matter. But at the same time, I understand what Kira's talking about. You really want to associate yourself with other couples. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be a couple and be around a bunch of single people, because they're going to be out there hoeing and doing everything else under the sun. And then your significant other going to be looking at you like, oh, y'all going out? You sure you coming back? Then you got to come back to the 2020 questions, and I ain't know. I'll pass.
Mm-hmm. I feel like my perspective on that has definitely changed. Like when I was in high school and my path was mostly, most of college, I definitely felt like, I was able to juggle having a best friend. I got a male best friend and a boyfriend, even though my boyfriend didn't quite like it. But I feel like, in this point in time in my life, I feel like I would want my best friend to be my partner, and since that spot should be filled, I don't think it's necessary to bring someone else into that whole like dynamic. That's just a little like, it's just not necessary. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I used to feel like that was possible, but now I'm kind of like, no, it's not needed.
Okay. So let me ask y'all this: if you sitting at home with your significant other, and then your best friend comes over, which is another guy, and y'all watching a movie, don't y'all think it's like a third wheel?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that would be so odd.
Would that be planned? Like,
no, they just pop up.
Oh no, they got to make an appointment with me. Yeah, they can't be popping up. Like, oh hey girl, like nope. Mm-mm. You gotta, talk to me during regular business hours, and you can schedule policy accordingly.
Yeah, because you're like my friend. Yeah, because you're. Go ahead, Jocelyn. No, you go.
Well, I was gonna say, I think that, like, I agree with Akira in the sense that it is a very tricky and like kind of like a gray area there that you don't really want to introduce into the relationship, but at the same time, I think it's possible. But like I said, I feel like the best friend needs to learn that those are boundaries that they can't cross at all. Like that should be some guidelines and some boundaries, like showing up, popping up. No. Right?
Unless they're gay.
Right.
I don't see how that's not going to cause any issues. Your man he's a man. He can be like, man, this dude trying to holler at my girl. man, she over there telling all our business. When we getting into it, man, he gonna wait for the right opportunity to hit on her. Like, those are things that your man is going through, and I just think it's unfair for him to even have to think about that type of stuff. So
Right. And if you want to have a male friend, is it okay for them to have a girlfriend?
Hell no,
For
it
the
ain't.
opposite sex?
I don't know. It depends on how long they know each other. Now, if this is just some pop-up popcorn chick, hell to the no. I'd be like, where the hell you come from? Because you wasn't around before. Boo-boo, exit stage left.
Now, you know what though? If I'm being real, because I had to go through my mind of, okay, are there situations like that? So I do have, well, not me, sorry. I'm thinking about my girlfriends. I don't want to say his name on here, but my fiance has a friend from when they were like childhood friends. And whenever there are conversations, like, it's not a conversation of him like coming to the side and talking to her. Normally we're included in the conversation together. So I actually get to learn from her perspective how he was, and they like clown all day, you know?
And that's the way it should be, because you don't want them to be having no closed conversations, and then you be like, well, what you talking about that you can't talk to everybody?
Right. Yeah, you got to be invited. Yeah,
right.
I don't agree with like, oh, me and my best friend, we're going to the store, and you'll be like, oh, can I come? No, I mean, I guess you can, but
I'd be okay with that. I'll give her a grocery list. Like, here you go, sis. Like, you know what? Go to the grocery store. That's cool. So I don't have to go. You know, like, here you go. I need.
Right.
Thank you again for paying for the whole groceries. I was gonna pay for it, but you volunteered. Thank you.
You gotta look at the bright side of things.
You're right.
What's off limits with an opposite sex friend when you're in a relationship?
Sex.
Oh yeah.
I think that
that's a given.
I personally, what would be off limits for me? I feel like if, let's say, if I had a man and he had a female best friend, I would be kind of looking at both of them sideways if he couldn't talk to me about our problems, but instead would rather talk to the best friend. And I mean, and basically, I feel like I'm like, oh well, so basically, oh, you want her to be your girlfriend now? Because I'm like, I thought we were in this together, but apparently, you know, you kind of X me out, like. Yeah, that to me, I feel like I'm not built for that. Like, when it's kind of like, oh, so you have issues with me, but you won't talk to me, but you can talk to your best friend. So that would be kind of like, I think it would be a red flag.
So you're saying you would be jealous?
Yeah. And I've had a situation like that where, like, I had a guy best friend, and the girl herself was jealous and envious of the fact that I had that relationship with her boyfriend. But, you know, I fell back. You know, I'm like, okay, well, let me just give her the opportunity to be that person. Or, you know, and vice versa, you know. But, I mean, I like I said, I understood where she was coming from. I felt like what she was saying was valid. Like, of course, she had every right to feel like jealous and envious.
Justin said, no.
I mean, I knew from day one that she didn't like you. I was like, there's something inside of you that she does not like. She's one of those closet haters. I could see if you were actively trying to like get with your best friend, but no, like there was nothing but love and respect there. You respected those boundaries. So I mean, I honestly felt like her as a girlfriend, I just don't think that she was, I don't know, like solid, I guess. Like she let her insecurities you know, run her. And the friendship between you and you know, your best friend.
Even though like even though we kind of did what Akira did, and you know, we brought her in on a lot of stuff. Like all three of us at the time,
it didn't matter.
We're like, it didn't matter. So I think in that case, I think that's where the problem could kind of come in. But I think for that reason, that's why my views on that has changed. Like, I don't feel like it's possible.
There's gonna be always that one person that's going to always see you as a threat.
Yes. So it really doesn't matter what you do, how much distance you put, from that person. The other person is constantly going to be in the back of their mind. Oh, there's something there. It didn't matter. It's like my sister did a really, really good job of like setting boundaries and respecting those boundaries and only, talking to him whenever, she was there. But it didn't matter. Like she was just honestly felt like she was one of those people that was just trying to steal her man, and that was the case.
But you know what? See, you're looking at it from your perspective. Who knows what he may have been leading on or alluding certain things. Like you said that he was coming to you whenever they had issues, right?
That's a good
Mostly
point.
when it was affecting his schoolwork and the stuff we would do together at school.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it would like literally like, let's say, because I think at the time we did a lot of office work together. We helped out special ed kids, and so he couldn't do his work until he actually got that off his chest. Like it legitimately affects how he interacted and did his job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
Also,
yeah,
you work with mentally disabled kids as well, who were, each of them were amazing, but I remember you guys had to go on a field trip, right?
oh yeah, yeah. The teacher invited us to a field trip and to go with everybody, and she didn't want him to go because she felt like it was gonna be like a date, even though it was just
It was school
a school
related.
thing. Yeah, like the whole time she's just sending him text messages saying, "Oh, like okay, if you go, we're breaking up." Like he couldn't even enjoy his time with the kids because she was that, you know,
Clingy.
crazy and so toxic.
Yes.
Very toxic, and it was all because she was worried about, I guess, me with him, even though I had a boyfriend at the time. Like I didn't understand what the issue really was. But literally, I think whenever we got back to the school is when she was acting like she was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole
Yeah, I
like literally
remember.
all day, it was just
Yeah, I remember the whole thing.
I really feel like these types of relationships it has to be a super selfless situation. Like if you're a best friend of someone of the opposite sex who's in a relationship, like you should ultimately want the best for them. So if that means you backing away like you did, then hey, that's what you have to do.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
I guess my stance on this, it is kind of, I guess I feel like I'm standing on both sides because I do feel like people should be able to be mature enough to have relationships like that. But I also know that not everybody has the same
Maturity level.
maturity, but also the same intentions. It could be a case where the best friend is like, oh, I really like X, Y, and Z, but I'm just not gonna make the move because they're in a relationship. And there are those situations. So I don't it's I think it's an interesting dynamic to say the least.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think, Tanika?
I think it's a no. I just feel like it's too many blurred lines that could happen. Like,
Yeah.
intentions could be in the good place of your spouse, but again, you don't know the other person's intentions. And like I just feel like I don't think my spouse would want me having guys as friends. So I would expect the same of him. It's almost like an expectation things. And you can be mature about it if that's something they want to do. But I also feel like women and men are wired totally differently. So just because your intentions are something doesn't necessarily mean that that person's intentions are the same thing.
True.
That's true. I agree with that.
Are you saying like it's not good to have guy friends at all while you're dating, or is it like really really close guy friends?
I think dating and actually being in a relationship are two different things. You can do whatever you want when you're dating because you're not attached to anybody. And I think it's different if like that person is like your childhood best friend, you grew up together, blah, blah, blah. But if it's like somebody who's just coming in, like Pamela said, like, no. But I think like when you're, when you're like with that person, I would say, I wouldn't know. Mm-mm. No, thank you. You can have your guy friends. And then it's like, when you think about it, I have a man, like, why do I want to hang out with another man? Like, when I want to get away from him, I want to hang out with my homegirl so we can talk shit and, cackle and drink wine and talk about our men and, the kids that I don't have. So yeah, I don't see a guy want to talk about those things. Like,
unless they're interested in you.
Right.
Which makes sense.
I agree. Just what do you feel? What are your thoughts on situations where your friends are in a relationship though? Like,
that's cool. Yeah.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
My girlfriend, one of my girlfriends and her fiance, like Antoine and I are really good friends with them. So we all hang out together. So it's like, it's a different dynamic.
There's no lines crossed. Like in terms of the man asking you certain things that really he shouldn't be asking you.
Right.
Like I said, it's totally different when you hang out with single friends and when you hang out with people that are already in a relationship. It's a total two different things.
Yeah. The turn up friends.
Your single friends can't relate to you being in a relationship with somebody.
Since you bring that up, you actually make me think about getting advice from single friends about your relationship.
Don't do it. Because they single for a reason. They single for a reason. How you gonna give me advice and you're behind single yourself? I'll pass.
Yeah, we're not in the same situation. So it's kind of like,
because if you give me advice, why the hell you ain't got a man?
That's true.
Well, maybe you just want to be single. You don't know, like,
yeah, I agree with that.
There's something wrong with him.
Yeah, Mom.
But I can't
okay, this sounds like the other guy. This sounds like the other guy in the other episode we was just talking about, giving out advice.
Derek Jackson.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it. I learned that the hard way. Like, one of my good friends is single, and I also think, like, when you're talking about your relationships and you're going through something, like, they're not seeing all the good things that you're seeing, because they're like, oh, you only call me when, like, it's the bad stuff or when we're just talking about girl things. So they don't necessarily see that whole dynamic of that person. They only see in one particular part. So they're giving you a jaded perspective as to what you should do. So I would say absolutely don't do it.
And look, then when you break up with that person, you sitting there moping around, they be like, girl, what's wrong with you? Didn't you tell me to do this? I ain't tell you to do that. Yes, the hell you did.
Right.
Let me say, when do you decide to drop your friends of the opposite sex when you're in a relationship?
When the lines are crossed. Such as, I guess, I used to have a best friend in high school. He was a guy, and I remembered I ended the friendship because he said, I have feelings for you. Why are you with this guy? Like, it literally hindered our friendship. So I had to end it early because he was like, I love you. I have, I want to spend my life with you. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. And I did. Yeah. Because the lines were crossed and our friendship was not the same.
So had he not said or revealed his emotions to you, you would have been friends with him still.
Yeah, because I felt like I already had so many conversations with him about him respecting that I have a boyfriend, at the time. But it was like it went through one ear and out the other. He was doing little things, like buying me stuff, taking me out, and I'm like, no, this is uncomfortable.
Stalker?
Yeah. Yeah, he knew exactly what I had at lunch and everything. Like, he was just getting too personal.
Like, he was trying to, like, give you a marriage proposal in high school, but he was doing a lot.
Yeah.
Did your boyfriend at the time, did he feel some type of way?
Oh yeah, like he thought he was crazy.
Mm.
It was.
Well, because of what the lengths that he went through to hang out with. Like he went through extreme lengths. Like I remember he used to go through a few of my friends to see where I'm at.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
She's so rude.
He's a
Kinda
thorough
girl.
talk. He's thorough. I'll give him that.
He was quite thorough. Yeah, he went through most of my friends to figure out exactly where I was at that moment. You know,
He's
it was,
FBI level.
yes, it was intense.
That's interesting.
That ain't interesting. That's scary.
I'm saying, I'm saying it's interesting in terms of saying, oh, that I consider that man to be a stalker, not a friend. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me a while to realize that what he
Are
was doing
those?
wasn't healthy and it was toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said,
It was
Joy
hard
is the
for me
Oprah
to
of
see
men.
that.
Mm-hmm.
The Oprah
So
of
let-
men.
Oprah.
Get everybody.
So let me ask this. So when do you think that you can tell a friend or a guy that it's better off for you all to be friends and not to cross those lines?
Like when?
Yeah.
Like I personally do that when I feel like they got the roles fucked up. Like
Yep.
I feel like you know what I mean. Like I've had conversations where I'm kind of like, hold up. Like I feel like I gotta approach it like it's a business. You
Right.
know, like hold up a
My
second.
friend.
Like
Hey,
it's a
guys,
business
second,
transaction.
remove yourself from the
Right.
situation. Like you about to get asked out. Like you're doing too much. You
Mhm.
know, like you forgot your role. Your
Mhm.
role was not is not my boyfriend. It's supposed to be my best friend. So like, why are you confused? Like, why are we having this conversation? Like, I used to get angry. I'm like, well, man, you taking me out back seat while I'm having this conversation with you.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think at that time, that is when I was like, okay, whoa, maybe we need to have a discussion about it.
Your position been filled, baby.
Honestly, I honestly feel like I just think back to my, I guess, high school. I remember as soon as I got into a relationship, I was like, okay, nobody else matters. And I realized that wasn't the most healthiest, but I think that's something that I do kind of carry now. Once I get into a serious relationship, like I'm not really interested in having a bunch of male friends or a male friend for that matter. Like I feel like what Jada said earlier, or I don't know if it was Jada or Tanika, but your significant other becomes your best friend. There that role as a even potentially being a friend has been filled by this person, both sides. You see what I'm saying? So
Agree.
I don't know.
Oh, if for some reason that you break up with that significant other, do you go back and tell that so-called friend that you didn't cut out the picture, hey, come on back?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
yeah.
definitely done that.
Yes. I'm guilty of it right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
There
I
was
mean, we
That's gotta
still.
make you gotta think that's
with
gotta
my
make that person feel some type of way.
ex-boyfriend, like he was even worried about my male coworkers that just happened to be really good friends. So I had to like kind of like cut off a lot of that communication off. But ever since we broke up, I was able to reestablish those relationships, and and they were healthy in the end of the day. So yeah, there are some relationships with male friends that I had to reach out to and repair because of my boyfriend being a little bit too controlling at the time.
I just think that's bad. I just think that's sad on all type of fronts because I don't think I should have to cut somebody off to appease somebody else. That no.
Yeah, it sucks.
My
It's
thing
like
is,
it's
if this
either
person built me for since day one, and then you coming into the picture, I ain't just gonna cut somebody off that I've been talking and friends with since day one. While you come in and be like, oh, I don't like this person, bro. You don't even know them. So why you gonna do that? No.
yeah. I had quite a bit of friends that I met even long before my ex boyfriend. So it was hard for me to actually like sever those ties with them. But I did it for the relationship so that he would feel comfortable.
Man, I used to be in some relationships where they'd be like, well, who you on the phone with? And then I had to be like, A, do you pay any of my bills? 2, who the hell are you? They say, oh, I'm still talking to you. I'm like, yeah, I see you still here. But anyway, again, you don't pay none of my bills. So again, I'm gonna talk to whoever I want to. We've been friends. They just friends. I ain't in the bed with them. Unfortunately, I'm in the bed with you. So it is what it is.
I don't really, all the guys I grew up with, it just came a time where I realized, like, okay, y'all not looking at me the way y'all used to look at me. I used to be just, cool and care. We hang out. Y'all are looking at me like, ooh.
Totally different.
Yeah. So a lot of those male friendships,
those you let go.
But
you still have some of those where, hey, you can still be cool and I can introduce you to so and so, and everybody's cool. Yeah, but everybody you can't be like that, because now they're looking at you like, y'all remember we used to hang out back then? I think we should go out on a date. Stop. No, didn't like you then like that, and it ain't gonna happen now.
I wonder. So I know some men are gonna try it, and some women gonna try it, but I wonder if sometimes there are things that we signal to that person and make them feel like, oh, it might be a chance. Do you feel like that?
I'm guilty of doing that.
I think sometimes we tell them, just like we having a conversation. I can tell you, there's certain people I have conversations with, but at the end of the day, I know it can never go any further than that. But in the back of their mind, they might be like, hey, I think we should go out and do this. I'm like, no, I think we should leave it like this, because I was like, at the end of the day, if I was to cross that line with you, I wouldn't respect you, because I know too much about how they are and the way they always been. So I couldn't do that.
You wouldn't respect them.
No, if you know somebody that's been a dog, well, dog out females at the end of the day, and you know how they are, and they telling you, oh, you still my home girl, let's go out. No.
I mean, everybody has a whole face.
They got a what?
A whole face, right? Right. Like that's not. I don't agree with that statement
about grow out that whole phase.
Okay, first of all, Bob.
My thing. Okay, let me tell you. I know 50-year-olds that are still in a whole phase. Dude, you almost dead. Stop.
Oh my
gosh. I am 50 years old and I am not dead. I refuse to accept that. I've been real quiet now. You talking about some 50-year-olds being dead.
I'm just saying, 50-year-olds too old to be doing stuff like that. You're gonna be dead.
Wait a minute. A 50-year-old is not dead sexually, okay?
No, it's just
I groove on just like anybody else. I am not dead down there, okay?
That's TMI. TMI.
I'm just saying.
Kira, come get your mama.
Mom.
Can't say nobody that don't want to be saved. Don't save her.
Don't save her.
Don't want to be saved.
Being 50 is a death sentence or something. Y'all act like I am knocking on death's doors.
Nah, you ain't knocking, man. You got a nice 30, 40, hell, maybe even another 50 years in you. Who knows?
You don't fit the criteria. But some of them, the older men, stop.
They didn't take care of themselves.
You too old to be out here doing what you're doing, trying to be somebody's sugar daddy. Stop it.
Okay. You can close this out.
Well, this ends another episode of Sisters Dealing with the Real World Shit. See you next week and have a great week. Don't forget to like and share. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.